Shalom. All praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Kodesh. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of GMS, to the true leaders of Israel today, and salutations to all of the Akim who do this work in truth and sincerity, who risk their lives and their freedoms to do so, as well as the scattered Israelites who come looking like the heathen, but are not, by way of their forefathers' seeds who are Israelite men. The true name of the Most High is Yahweh, and his son's name is Yahushai, and the Lord's for the chosen people are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as are the ones who suffer under the curses in the book of Deuteronomy. My name is Yakalio and Salakio, and this video is about the mark of the beast prophecy, which is the microchip. And as we have it, there is a system that is being built up to be able to allow this microchip to work on a global and mandatory scale, right? Because the prophecy says that he causeth all, right? And in Revelation chapter 3, verse 10, it talks about the hour of temptation, right? Which is going to be upon the entire world. Okay, so you have the development of the digital identification system, which is all about consolidating all of your information into one place on a digital database, right? Which will include your financials, your medical records, your everything. Okay, and then you also have the transformation of the current monetary system, which it's moving towards a digital payment system. And that's why you have these things called the central bank digital currencies that are being developed all across the world. All right, these things work hand in hand, okay, because you have the digitalization of the money, and then you have the consolidation of all of one's personal information and everything about their life, onto one thing. And this is a stepping stone heading towards the microchip, all right, because it's about them eventually taking the digital ID and transferring it onto the microchip. So we're literally living through the process right now of it all happening. And with that, you have, the countries that are moving along with the agenda of the wicked elite of Esau, Edom. The Edomites are these so-called white people, and they are the wicked, and this is their kingdom. And so the wicked elite of Esau, Edom is referring to their ruling class, all right? Because every single nation that is in rulership has a ruling class, and their ruling class are those elite bankers, okay? The men who, hide in stealth but pull all of the strings behind the scenes. All right, these are the men that are in control, and they're pushing their agenda very swiftly. All right, just the other day, Trump signed stablecoin into law, which stablecoin is, let's read it. A stablecoin is a cryptocurrency whose value is designed to be stable, typically by being pegged to a fiat currency like the US dollar. So the stablecoin is of a one-to-one value of the US dollar. So it is, in fact, the digital dollar, which, Esau, Edom being the devil that he is, in America, they have been talking about being anti-central bank digital currency and all these things, but yet and still, they very quickly signed what is really a central bank digital currency into law in America, which goes to show you how close we are, okay? On paper, they aim to offer the benefits of cryptocurrency, high speed, low cost, and decentralized transactions with the stability of traditional assets. So that is from what is stablecoin JPMorgan Asset Management. And, it's interesting that, the first thing that comes up regarding it is from JPMorgan, because the article that I have today is from JPMorgan Chase, right? Posted 9 hours ago, fresh off the block, Yahoo Finance. But before I read the article, then you have from Investopedia, stablecoins are designed to bridge the gap between the unpredictability of popular cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and the stability required for everyday financial transactions. By pegging their value to fiat currencies, commodities, or other financial instruments, stablecoins offer a crypto alternative with reduced volatility. As a result, they provide a more consistent medium of exchange capable of fulfilling daily transactional needs, unlike their more volatile cryptocurrency counterparts. You see, so the stablecoin is the thing that they're going to be using. All right, it's not about Bitcoin or Ethereum or any of those, because those are grouped together into, that one basket. This stable coin, because they've said it themselves, the central bank digital currency is separate from Bitcoin, Ethereum, and stuff like that. Okay, and the stable coin falls in line with exactly what the central bank digital currency is. Okay, so they deceived the people in America. And you have to remember, man, this is the devil the Bible speaks of. As it says in the book of Psalms, chapter 10 and verse 7, it says, his mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. So he sells you, or he sells you and tells you a story, right? But he be doing different things, because actually before I discovered this article that I'm going to bring out, I was checking up on the digital euro, because they've been talking about this digital euro for so long. And I was, Googling it and whatever else, and then I saw this: digital euro will not replace cash, says ECB. That's a lie, knowing the prophecy, right? They're doing away from the current monetary system. They're heading towards a cashless society. They're heading towards a digital payment system. All right, so they lied to you. And then they say cash use is still growing, says ECB, while pushing digital euro. So the point about this article is you can catch the devil in his lies. You know what I'm saying? Because they're selling this thing to the public, but their words are very deceptive, and they get caught in their own lies. Okay, so right here it says the European Central Bank is preparing to launch a digital version of the euro, while reporting that demand for physical banknotes is still rising, right? But then there were times before where I saw that, they were showing that they're moving towards cashless, like cash is being used less. The institution has faced growing challenges as it has tried to modernize payments without alienating the public or undermining trust in cash. Okay, so let me get the point. Cash, it said, remained a widely used, trusted, and indispensable form of public money. But at the same time, the Frankfurt-based institution has been moving forward with plans for a digital euro. This is a form of central bank-issued currency that would be held and used through an app on a phone without requiring access to internet, just as happens with Apple Pay. And that this is, when I read this, it made me think, because it's like, okay, so the central bank digital currency works on an app on the phone, and it doesn't require internet to be used. So the microchip won't need the internet to be used. That's what I'm guessing. All right, because this is all just a stepping stone heading towards it. And then the microchip itself, from my understanding, is that it is self-charging. There's no need to charge it. There are people who are microchipped, and I've never heard of anything about them having to inject themselves with something to charge the microchip. It appears that the body itself provides the charging to the microchip. Once it's inserted into the body, it just keeps on working. Okay, so this was an interesting point that was brought out in this article, right, to show you that there's not going to be any internet needed. Okay, but then also it says it would mean no network or data was needed to access it, but a battery was. And I just spoke about the microchip and how it's, and without a bank handling and accessing your money, just as already occurs with cash withdrawals. Okay, so where's the part that I was looking for? The push to launch a digital currency has raised questions across the banking sector and beyond, as commercial lenders brace for new infrastructure costs and policymakers attempted to modernize payments without undermining the role of physical money. The ECB insisted the digital euro would not track users or allow profiling. So that's one of the biggest concerns from the people. They're like, they don't want to be tracked, all these kinds of things, unlike commercial services offered by large technology firms, it would be free to use, available offline, and controlled by public authorities rather than private corporations. The project is part of a wider European strategy to boost monetary sovereignty, a term also used in recent initiatives such as Wero, a Western European grown payments platform backed by European banks to reduce reliance on the likes of MasterCard and Visa. Although the ECB said cash would remain in circulation, the digital euro offers features long favored by law enforcement agencies, including traceability. So it says, so you see, right there, they're telling you it's not about tracking or profiling, but yet they're saying that it's about including traceability, which is in fact tracking and profiling. You see what I'm saying? That makes it easier to combat tax evasion, money laundering, and fraud, areas where cash still played a role. And I'm not saying, that these things should be happening, like, tax evasion, money laundering, whatever it is, What I'm showing is that this devil, you have to really watch him very keenly, because they're telling you it's something they don't want to track you, but they're telling you that they are going to track you. All right, and this is how he works. Okay, so anyway, basically the euro digital dollar, the project is currently in its technical design phase. The first version of the digital euro could be available to consumers by 2026. So they're saying that it's coming in 2026. All right, and then there's this video here from this lady, BTC Isla. She talks about the digital euro, okay? And she calls it a digital prison, etc., because that is like the main concern about, the situation at hand from the people. But, it is Esau's slavery system that's coming in, right? And he's going to make it mandatory. It doesn't matter how people feel. It doesn't matter what people think. It is going to happen in the prophecy, Revelation chapter 13 and verse 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. So he causeth all. It doesn't matter who you are, okay? To receive the microchip in their right hand or in their foreheads. And the microchip technology for both in the hand and the brain microchip are up and available and ready and successful. So it's just about the system behind it being implemented so that it can work on a global and mass scale, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So unless you have the microchip, you won't be able to buy or sell. You won't be able to be a merchant, and you won't be able to be a buyer. You will be shut out from society, because the digital ID that they're developing, as I mentioned before, it is all about consolidating all of your information, right? The digital ID proposed by the World Economic Forum, which will include your financial information on it, okay? So everything is going digital. Everything is about, everything that you see that's going on right now, the movements of Esau, Edom, it is so that he can bring about this microchip. It is at the forefront of his New World Order agenda. All right. And all of these men at these very high positions are a part of this agenda. All right. So let's go back to the most recent article. Jamie Dimon now says he's a believer in stablecoin. How convenient. And JPMorgan Chase's new partnership could change everything. The man who once called Bitcoin a fraud just became crypto's unlikely ally. JPMorgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon, Wall Street's most vocal crypto skeptic for nearly a decade, delivered a stunning reversal that's sending shockwaves through both traditional finance and digital asset markets, right? Because this person, you're not going to be the CEO of a bank, especially JP Morgan. The importance of JP Morgan in America. I'm pretty sure it is America's largest bank, without being tied to the wicked elite of Esau Edom in some form or way, right? So he is controlled by them. And, his ideologies of being against Bitcoin is because Bitcoin and Ethereum and those kinds of things were not the end game, right? That's not the end game system of it all. So now the end game system has been signed into law, which is a stable coin, okay, which is the digital dollar, 1-to-1 ratio to the fiat currency. And now he's an advocate for it, because he's obviously an advocate for Esau's plans. And he most likely is an Edomite too, right? I'm a believer in stablecoin and a believer in blockchain. Diamond said in a recent CNBC interview, though he maintained he's not personally a believer in Bitcoin itself. For retail investors, and that's because, and I have to reiterate it, it's because it is in fact something different. Okay, it is the digital dollar. The Bitcoin and those things, those weren't about, being the digital dollar, but the stable coin is it. So it goes to show you that we're very close. And the prophecy is speaking louder than ever. And it says in Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 3, it says, the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. So the vision are these prophecies, and this mark of the beast prophecy, which is a market chip, is the number one prophecy that we look towards right now. Because this prophecy has to be fulfilled before the salvation and the destruction can come. All right, this is it, man. And it's speaking very loudly. You have all of these major players, right, that are speaking, positively about the new system that's coming in and the digital transformation and going cashless. Like, for example, a few years ago, I believe it was 2019, the Bank of America CEO came out, and you can Google it, and he said that he wanted to move towards a cashless society, which is he wants it to move towards a society based off of digital payments and a digital system. They're all a part of it, man. And then the video I did the other day about MasterCard wants everyone to have a digital wallet and MDL, which is a digital ID, to make ID-like payments. You see? So the system is coming in, and they're all a part of the same agenda. Okay? So I'm a believer in stablecoin and a believer in blockchain, Diamond said in a recent CNBC interview, though he maintained he's personally not a believer in Bitcoin itself. For retail investors watching from the sidelines, this isn't just corporate posturing. It's a seismic shift that could reshape how mainstream America accesses cryptocurrency. Okay, so the partnership that changes the game. Diamond's evolution isn't happening in a vacuum. JPMorgan Chase just announced a groundbreaking partnership with Coinbase that allows the bank's customers to link their bank accounts directly to Coinbase wallets. It's all about moving the system onto the digital platforms that are available. Okay, making it dramatically easier to move money between traditional banking and crypto platforms. This matters because JPMorgan Chase isn't just any bank. It's America's largest by assets, serving over 80 million customers. When it makes crypto more accessible, the bank is essentially building a bridge between Main Street and digital assets for millions of Americans who've been sitting on the fence. Okay, so that's it, man. The timing isn't coincidental. The White House just released its comprehensive crypto policy framework, which positions digital assets as a cornerstone of U.S. economic competitiveness. This is it, man. This is the fourth industrial revolution that they've been speaking about, the intelligence age, the digital age. This is it, man. And they said that it would be happening at a breakneck speed. Okay? The report provides the regulatory roadmap that banks like JPMorgan Chase have been desperately waiting for. Key developments include the Genius Act, which President Donald Trump signed into law to encourage stablecoin adoption, because they're all the system is heading towards this digital dollar, okay, and heading towards this market chip, because the market chip is a digital device that stores all of these things on it, and it has all of this data on it. And so it is going to be used as the way to make payments, the microchip itself. And the microchip is inserted into the hand. So for it to work by making payments, which it already is doing, it has to be connected to a digital database where financials are on it. The legislation allows both banks and non-banks to issue stablecoins under federal and state oversight, creating the regulatory clarity that institutional players need. All right, so, once again, they're just all a part of it. I'm not going to read the rest of the article because the point has been made, right? All of these individuals are part of the Esau Edom's NWO, and they will follow the mandate, and all of these leaders in all of these countries, they're doing the same thing. It says it in the book of Job chapter 9 and verse 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. So the earth is given into Esau's hand, the so-called white man's hand. So he's in control, man. You know, the Lord has given him the privilege. This is Esau's blessing that he's living through, and he has the power. Okay, they are the elite bankers. They control all of these central banks in all of these countries. All right, the power has been given to them, and they're making their move with their NWO, which is all going to come to naught anyway. All right, because Yahushua, once this mark of the beast prophecy, which is the microchip, is fulfilled, Yahushua is just around the corner. In Job chapter 5 and verse 12, he disappointed the devices of the crafty so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. So, you know, it's going to go about and it's going to become mandatory worldwide. You know, and I mentioned on the highways and byways yesterday that I actually had a dream, you know, last week, well, Thursday that just went by, and I clearly saw it, man. The time of the microchip and mass mandatory microchipping, and I saw the people getting microchipped, and I saw the long line of people standing up waiting to get microchipped, you know, and I've never seen it like that before, right? So, you know, measuring the time diligently and being a watchman of Yahweh Shai, I feel that, you know, this thing is very close, right? And that's just what it is. Of course, there's a judgment for taking the microchip in Revelation chapter 14, verse 9 to 10, that if you take the microchip, you will be destroyed, and salvation is only for the Israelites. So this is a message from Yahweh Shai and a warning unto the nation of Israel to not take the microchip. All right, but you can see it very clearly, man. The agenda is going full speed ahead, and these people that are, you know, in, you know, at least the faces of these banks, they are a part of the agenda, and they're moving with it. So that's all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Shemishai, Bashar Makal Kodesh. Shalom.